Welcome everyone, Bruchim Habayim, as we begin our Shiur in Pirkei Avos. Once again, this week we are starting with Perek Aleph. Once again, we begin with the statement, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelek Lo Olam Haba. All of Israel has a share in the world to come. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Va'amech Kulam Tzadikim. Your entire nation is righteous. Lo Olam Yeshu Oretz, they shall forever inherit the land. Netzar Matai, they are the branch of my planting. Maaseh Yodai lehispoer, they are the work of my hand that I may be glorified. I think it's important at this point to say that the study of Pirkei Avos is preceded by this very beautiful statement at the beginning of, according to some, it's the last Perek, according to some, next to last Perek in Sanhedrin, known as the Perek of Agadas Chelek, which says, Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelek Olam Haba. All of Israel has a share in the world to come. Now, many of us desire to have an everlasting share in eternity, and the soul definitely is what we hope lives forever, because we believe that there is a world to come and that everybody has a share in that world to come. But this is not the only or even main reason for us to keep the Torah and its mitzvahs, because we have to keep in mind that Kihem Chayenu v'Orech Yameinu, that the Torah is our very lives here in this world. I think it's important to emphasize once again that the best Olam Hazeh, not just Olam Haba, the best Olam Hazeh is the Olam Hazeh of the Jew who keeps the Torah and the mitzvahs. The righteousness of the Jew is what gives him the absolute best Olam Hazeh. So even though we're beginning Pirkei Avos with the statement of Kol Yisrael Yesh Lahem Chelek Olam Haba, please do not forget that it's not only some distant future that we are hoping for. It's the here and the now also. It's important and vital to emphasize that. It's true that when things are not clear and we don't understand the vicissitudes of history that the Jewish people have gone through, we know that in the Olam HaEmes and the Olam Haba, there is a reward for the myriad numbers of Jews who have perished at the hands of evil people, and that there is retribution to all the evil people. And one of the cardinal principles of the Torah is that good is rewarded and evil is punished. But it's not just in this world. The good in this world is the good of the Jewish people observing the Torah under any and all circumstances. And the evil is the empty feeling that exists in the soul of all mankind that doesn't have a goal or purpose other than the here and the now. Because since the here and the now is only here and now, it's living a life of death rather than a life worth living. There's a whole discussion about this that we can go further into it, but that's not our topic today. I just want to point that out at the beginning of today's session. We go right to the Mishnah. We're in Perek Aleph. We're up to Mishnah Ches. The Mishnah reads as follows. Yehuda ben Tabai, the Shimon ben Shetach, Kiblu Mehem. Yehuda, the son of Tabai, and Shimon, the son of Shetach, they got it from them. Now, when it says from them, we go back to the beginning of the Pirkei Avos. We don't have to read it, but I'll take you back. We go back to the beginning of this Perek in Pirkei Avos, where it says, Moshe Kibel Torah Misinai. Moshe got the Torah from Sinai. He gave it over to Yoshua. Yoshua gave it over to Zikanim. Zikanim gave it over to Anshe Knesset Agdola. The Anshe Knesset Agdola, they gave it over to Shimon HaTzadik. He was one of the last members of the Anshe Knesset Agdola, and Shimon HaTzadik gave it over to Antignos Ish Socho. After Antignos ben Ish Socho, we begin the Pirkei Avos Mishnayos, which deals with what is known as Zugos. Zugos means pairs. There were pairs of rabbis. One was the Nasi, the other one, the Av Bezdin, the Rosh Sanhedrin. One was the Nasi, so to speak, the president or prime minister, so to speak, the king of the Jewish people. And the other one was the Av Bezdin, the judicial head of the Jewish people. And the first group was Yosei ben Yoezer ish Tzereda and Yosei ben Yochanan ish Yerushalayim. Those were the first pair. The second pair were Yoshua ben Parachia and Nitai Ha'arbeli, which we learned in the last Mishnah. And now we come to the third pair of Zugos. And who were they? They were Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach, which are Kiblu Mehem. They received the tradition from Yoshua ben Parachia and Nitai Ha'arbeli. Now this took place in the time of the king known as King Alexander Yanai, which was approximately about 100 years before the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. This was during the time of the second Beis HaMikdash when the family of Hashmonaim, the Hasmonean family, ruled over the Jewish people. The kingship was returned to the Jewish people through Matisyahu and his family. Unfortunately, many of his children did not follow in his path, and they caused great anguish for the Jewish people. But yet, as the Rambam says in Hilchos Chanukah, it was a great event that the Hashmonaim took back the reins of power, and that the Jewish sovereign state run by Jews, even though they were not observant of the Torah. In fact, many of them were very, very wicked, so wicked that they actually killed their own siblings in order to seize power. And Alexander Yanai was the second of the Hashmonaim kings to rule, and in that time, Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach were the Nasi and Av Bezdin. There is a discussion amongst the commentaries as to whether or not Yehuda ben Tabai was the Nasi and Shimon ben Shetach was the Av Bezdin, or the other way around. There are many beautiful stories about Shimon ben Shetach, including the one where Alexander Yanai, who originally wanted to kill him, welcomed him back because of his absolute brilliance and his value to the Jewish people. And ultimately, he convinced Alexander Yanai of the fact that the Torah is the unique possession of the Jewish people, and that's what gives them their honor. Anyway, Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach Kiblu Mehem, they received the tradition from Moshe straight down, and they were the place where the tradition resided as the leaders of all the Chachamim and all of the princes. That Yehuda ben Tabai was the chief prince and Shimon ben Shetach of Bezdin. Yehuda ben Tabai Omer. Yehuda ben Tabai says as follows: Al tiyu al tas atzmecha ka'orchei hadayonim. Don't make yourself, and the assumption here is that the Mishnah by Yehuda ben Tabai is talking to judges, people who decide law. That's why some said Yehuda ben Tabai was the Av Bezdin and not the Nasi. But he said, Al tas atzmecha ka'orchei hadayonim. Don't make yourself, you judge, don't make yourself ka'orchei hadayonim. An orech is like from the word shulchan aruch. Aruch means to set something up. Orchei hadayonim means the ones who set up the judges. And the ones who set up the judges have many definitions. A simple definition would be the ones who appoint the judges. Others interpret orchei hadayonim from the word orech din. In Hebrew today, an orech din is a lawyer. And when you go to Bezdin, there are sometimes that a litigant will bring along an orech din, a lawyer, to argue his case before the judges. So Yehuda ben Tabai is saying, don't make yourself into a lawyer when two defendants come before you, one claiming the other one owes money and the other one claiming he doesn't, don't you become the lawyer. Let them say their own tinus, ask the proper questions, but don't advocate for any one of them. Don't be an orech din when you are a judge. That's the first thing that Yehuda ben Tabai said. And the second one was, Ukeshiyu bale adin omdin lifanecha. And when the two litigants are standing before you, each one convinced that he is 100% correct, don't, when they are before you, the both of them should be looked upon in your eyes as being liable, as being wicked, not like we would say. We're not talking about a criminal case here where we say innocent until proven guilty, but we don't say that both of them are innocent. We say both of them are guilty. They're both Rishayim. They're both wicked. They're both not telling the truth. Why is that? That's because then, if you are skeptical about both sides in a monetary dispute, one is sure that the other one owes the money. The other one is sure the other one is a crook. Each of them, for sure, claiming that they are 100% right. You cannot look upon them both as 100% right. You know the famous story, of course. You know the famous story. The rabbi is sitting, and a couple come to him, and they're having shalom bayis problems, and the man starts talking, and he says all his tinus, and the rabbi shakes his head when he exclaims, and the other person is saying all his complaints, everything is wrong, and so on and so forth, and the Rav says, "You're right." And then a woman speaks, and she is so convincing, and she is 100% correct. And she comes out and says things, and at the end of the discussion, the Rav says, "You're right." And of course, they both say, "I'm right and she's right. How can we both be right?" And he says, "Yeah, you're right too. It can't be." But when you look at people and you're skeptical about everything, and you don't think that they're both right, that's an opportunity to get to the truth, because you accept nothing and are not eager to say you're right and you're right. You're eager to get to the truth, and therefore look upon them both with a skeptical eye. Look at them with a little jaundiced view. Maybe someone here is fudging the truth. It must be that one is fudging the truth. They both can't be 100% correct. However, when they finally take leave of you after you gave the psak, they should both be righteous and meritorious in your eyes. You shouldn't think that because you discovered that one of them was incorrect, that he now is a wicked person. Because when you give the psak, and they are niftarim milfonecha, they take their leave of you, that means that they accepted your psak at this point. Doesn't matter that he fudged it a little bit. What matters now is that they accepted the psak and they went along with the Beis Din's ruling, and now they are tzadikim, yiyu beinecha kizakoim. When they accept the din. If they don't accept the din, obviously, you don't think like that. But if they accepted the din, then no question, they have to be considered zakaim. Now, I have to tell you that I do not get involved with derech klal in dinei Torah. It's not my, you might say, area of either expertise. It's actually way beyond my pay scale. But that's not the issue. Sometimes I'm called in just to arbitrate, not to give a psak, but to arbitrate. And I must share with you that I have never yet arbitrated a case where each one did not taina and claim, I am 100% correct. The other one is 100% wrong. Both of them saying the exact same thing. And I had one case, I'll share, I won't tell you the details, but I'll tell you, I had two people came to me with a seemingly relatively simple issue to solve. It was a matter of altogether, not a lot of money, maybe $2,000, maybe at the outside, which for some people is a lot of money, but for these business people was not a lot of money. And it was a pretty clear situation where each one was a little bit at fault. It was pretty clear. So they asked me to arbitrate the case, and I was very hesitant. And they begged me. They said, look, we look upon you as impartial. Please. I said, look, I don't really want to get involved in this. They said, please arbitrate the case. I said, okay. They came down. I met with them. I heard each one's taina. I had to call in an expert to view the situation so that he could give me an estimate of either the fix or the damage, whatever it was. And I got the estimate, and I called them back together, and I realized it was a matter of splitting $2,000, that the truth is neither of them was 100% right. They really were both at fault, and that they should split the $2,000 and chip in together, make a compromise, and fix that which needed to be fixed. And it was a pretty dangerous situation because it was about a house that had some bricks that were falling in and who was at fault and so on. But it was not a big deal. It was not a big deal. So they came back to the next session, and at the advice of my Rosh Yeshiva, of course, I said to them, okay, listen, I'm ready to give you the arbitration agreement. I'm ready to give you the psak. I'm ready to give you what you wanted me to arbitrate. But before I do, I have a paper here that says, in effect, that you hereby accept the binding arbitration agreement and agree to the terms of the binding arbitration agreement. And I'm giving you these papers. If you sign them, I will then give you the agreement. Each one took the paper and said, I'm not signing. So what do you mean you're not signing? Didn't you call me down to help you solve this problem? Each one said, yeah, but if I'm not going to be found to be 100% correct, I'm not going to do what you say. I said, but you agreed that you would abide by whatever I said. Yeah, I was only agreeing that if you say what I want you to say, then I'll abide by it. But I won't abide if you don't say what I want you to say. And each one refused to sign the document. And they walked out without getting satisfaction. And I said to myself, Chaval, what a shame. And I said this to them before they left. I said, if you two guys can't agree on this simple solution, do you expect Klal Yisrael to be able to have achdus and come together when it's clear that each of you could have solved this problem with a minimal amount of effort? You're not both 100% correct. Oh, yes, I am, Rabbi. Oh, yes, I am. So Yehuda ben Tabai is coming along and he's telling us, if they accept the din, then they are zakai. But if they don't accept the din, what can you hope for? And the fact of the matter remains that they're both fromme Yidden. They're both observant of the commandments, with the exception of a simple matter when it comes to money. And people can be very funny about this. And Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach, who were the Av Bezdin and the Nasi, recognized this particular quandary, and Yehuda ben Tabai spoke up about this as clear as day. Now, before we go into discussing the issue that Yehuda ben Tabai raises, we have to know a little bit about Yehuda ben Tabai. Yehuda ben Tabai was a brilliant judge. He was a tzaddik, a great Jew, someone who came from a long line of righteous people and was considered one of the most brilliant Talmidei Chachamim. But we have to know that no matter how great a person is, whether he's Avram, Yitzchak, or Yaakov, whether he's Moshe, Aaron, David, or Shlomo, whether he's you or I, whoever he is, ain't tzaddik ba'aretz asher yaseh tov v'lo yechter. There is no such thing as a person who's completely righteous. None of us are completely righteous. Everyone has flaws, foibles, idiosyncrasies, faults, and none of us are perfect. Yehuda ben Tabai has an amazing, rather sad, even shocking story told about him. And for those of you who are in the Tuesday night Shiur on the Masechta Makos, you might remember this story from Daf Hey Amud Beis. The discussion in the Gemara over there is about the fact that there is a system of Eidim that are perjured when they perjure their own selves, known as Eidim Zomamin. Eidim Zomamin means that they were not at the event that they are saying testimony about, but rather they are lying about the fact that they ever were there. And they were taken down by two Eidim who said, how could you say that you saw this event in New York on Monday, January 7th, 1998, when on Monday, January 7th, 1998, you were with us at 10 a.m. in Los Angeles. You were 3,000 miles away, and you were not there in New York. How could you say that testimony? The din is, va'asisem lo kasher zomam. You do to them what they wanted to do with their perjured testimony. If they wanted to make that man lose $200, they lose $200. If they wanted to get that man to get lashes, they get lashes. If they wanted to kill that person, they get killed because they're Eidim Zomimim. However, there's a law in Eidim Zomimim, and that is Ein ha'Eidim Zomim Azimin. Eidim Zomim cannot become Eidim Zomim Ela Imkain Mazimin Shnehem, unless both of them are made Eidim Zomim. And the Gemara tells us that Yehuda ben Tabai, in order to punish a particular Eid Zomim, a single Eid Zomim, he wanted to let him know, and he wanted to let the wayward Tzedokim know that this man is going to get what he wanted to give to somebody else. And he had him killed, even though only he was perjured and not the other one. And the Gemara relates that Yehuda ben Tabai killed this person by law as the head of the Sanhedrin. And from the time it happened, when Shimon ben Shetach came to him and told him, you have murdered somebody. You did a terrible thing. And you can hear the screams of this man's soul crying out for justice against you. And Yehuda ben Tabai went to the cemetery and he prostrated himself on the grave of this individual. And he prayed and begged forgiveness. And the Gemara relates that from that day on until the day that Yehuda ben Tabai died, the screams did not stop until Yehuda ben Tabai died. And when Yehuda ben Tabai died, and this man confronted Yehuda ben Tabai in Olam HaEmes, and Yehuda ben Tabai begged forgiveness, only then did the cries of that poor soul stop. So the Gemara, now you have to bear with me, because you're going to say to me, you're telling me this man was a Av Bezdin, and you're telling me that this man was a Nasi? Which one? Either one. How could it be? How could such a human being be? an Av Bezin Nasi. He was. He made a mistake, a terrible, terrible mistake. And in fact, the Gemara relates that from the day he made that mistake on, he never judged another case without the input of Shimon ben Shetach. He never judged another case for the rest of his life. He walked around crying over his mistake, over the wrong psak. Can you imagine a good Jew made a mistake that cost someone his life? The pain he was in from that moment on to the end of his life, the anguish, the utter gut-wrenching, soul-searching anguish that pervaded the heart of Yehuda ben Tabai, who was otherwise an extremely righteous man. Terrible, terrible. None of us should ever fall into that. And the interesting thing is that our sages did not neglect to mention this. We put it in writing in the Gemara. Now, I want you to know that the Ramban has a very good explanation of what Yehuda ben Tabai did. And he's not the only one. There are many other commentators who, like the Orach Laner, and we studied it when we learned that daf, who come to the defense of Yehuda ben Tabai. But nevertheless, no matter how you whitewash it, no matter how many defenses you're going to give, there's no question that Yehuda ben Tabai made an error. And the Mishnah is now a little clearer to us. Now we understand Yehuda ben Tabai. Now we understand when he says, Al tas atzmacha ka'orchei hadayanim. Don't make yourself like one of the lawyers and prosecute in addition to judging. Not only that, but the word arche, ka'orche, can be spelled not only with an ayin, but with an aleph too. And then aleph resh chaf, orach. The English word for that is arch enemy, arch judge, chief cook and bottle washer, the arch. Don't make yourself like one of the orchei dayanim, that you are the arch judge and you know everything. Yehuda ben Tabai is talking to himself. What a mistake he made. And the Gemara tells it to us. It's right in front of us. We can see it. We can learn it. And with all the apologetics of the Ramban and the Orach Laner and others, the fact is, the Gemara recorded it, because the sign of the honesty of the Jewish people, warts and all, is the sign of truth. The claim to infallibility, the claim that everyone's a saint. And if he's not yet a saint, we'll vote him to be a saint. We'll make him a saint. We'll make him into someone who's perfect. We'll make him the leader of the religion who's perfect. Oh no. There's no rabbi who's perfect. There's no Rosh Yeshiva who's perfect. If you had the chance to go over to a man like Rav Moshe Feinstein Zechet Tzadik Levracha, if you had a chance to go over to him and you could say to him, Rebbe, can I ask you a question? And he would answer you. And you say to him, Rebbe, are you perfect or did you ever make a mistake? What do you think his response is going to be? What do you think? Telling you the MS. What's the response going to be? I never make a mistake. Never. He would never say that. Never. He said, we strive for truth. We strive to be better. No one would say, I never make a mistake. We all make mistakes. That's the claim to truth. We're not afraid to say it. It happens. We make mistakes. That's what the nature of the Jewish people is. The claim to truth. And Yehuda ben Tabai made mistakes. A terrible mistake, actually. And it's recorded in the Gemara And Shimon ben Shetach was his Av Bezdin from that point on, or his Nasi from that point on. He never made a move without Shimon ben Shetach. When we get to the Mishnah about Shimon ben Shetach, we'll talk a little bit more about him. In the meantime, this is the statement of Yehuda ben Tabai, Altas atzmecha ka'orchei hadayonim. I know from experience, says Yehuda ben Tabai, don't make yourself like one of the orchei hadayonim, because that's not a good thing to make yourself into. All right, we are going to continue with Perek Aleph tomorrow night, Yetz Hashem, with this Mishnah. We're going to try over the week to finish it, maybe even go on to the next one, a little bit each night. We're going to take apart this Mishnah with a little more historical background and understanding of what Yehuda ben Tabai was saying. Right now, we're going to go to the Mishnayos, so please join us on the Mishnayos.